You've probably heard this a million times. To find inner peace, you just need to be still. You need to meditate. But what that really means? Well, that's often the most confusing part of the whole journey. And that's exactly what we're digging into in this explainer.
Just think about that for a second. We picture stillness as this calm, quiet escape from all the chaos of life, right? But what if its real job is the total opposite? What if stillness isn't a hiding place, but the actual battlefield where the most important fight of your life is supposed to happen?
So this gets us to what you could call the stillness paradox. It's a question pretty much all of us have when we first try to sit quietly. Okay, I'm sitting here, being still. So what am I supposed to be doing now?
And here's the wild part. That very question is a complete contradiction. The whole point of being still is to not do. So asking what to do just shows we've kind of missed the point from the get-go. You know what that is? That's our restless mind trying to turn a state of being into just another item on our to-do list. And that right there leads us straight into the great meditation misconception. We've got this idea baked into our culture that it's all about escaping the world, when the real deal is about finally, truly facing yourself. I mean, what's the first image that pops into your head when you hear meditation? It's probably someone sitting, totally zen in a silent room, doors locked, maybe on some remote mountain peak, completely cut off from every single noise and disturbance in the world. We try to build these perfect, quiet little bubbles to find our peace.
But here's a radical thought. That isn't meditation. That's just escaping. It's like you've been studying for a huge, life-changing exam. You've prepared for it, but on the day of the test, you just don't show up. You hide. The real test? That's out there, in the chaos of life, not in that quiet little room.
Okay, so if the quiet room is just, let's say, the practice gym, where's the actual arena, right? Where does the real test even begin?
Well, the real test, the real meditation, it kicks in right here. It happens in those raw, unfiltered moments of life. When someone insults you, when you feel that hot flush of shame or humiliation, when your ego gets poked and prodded, when somebody just treats you badly. That is the moment you're supposed to call on that stillness you've been practicing.
And this is the real essence of the Buddha stillness. Think about a statue of the Buddha. You could praise it, or you could throw mud at it. The statue doesn't change. It remains still. And that is the goal. To build an inner state so solid, so stable, that no matter what the world throws at you, it stays completely steady, completely unmoved. That is true meditation.
So, okay, if meditation is this big battle, then who's the opponent? It's not the person insulting you. It's not the noisy world out there. The core idea here is incredibly focused. Meditation has a scheduled appointment with one and only one adversary. And that adversary is the ego. 100%. That is meditation's singular target. It isn't concerned with money, it doesn't care about fame or power. Heck, in this specific context, it's not even about God. Its one and only job, its entire purpose, is to go head-to-head with the ego. Everything else is just noise. So why does our meditation practice feel so useless sometimes? Well, this framework has this brilliant analogy. Think of it like a race. The only two runners are your meditation and your ego. But here's the problem. We train them on completely separate tracks. Meditation does its laps in the quiet, safe, empty room. Meanwhile, the ego is out there running wild on the streets, at work, with our family. They never even get to the same starting line to actually face off.
And if you thought that was a good analogy, check this one out. It's even more vivid. Think of your mind as this super sly circus master. It knows that meditation is a tiger and the ego is a deer. And what does it do? It keeps them in separate cages, terrified of what would happen if they ever met. Because it knows, if they ever get in the same ring, that confrontation is final. The tiger will consume the deer. Our own mind is actively getting in the way of the very thing that could set us free.
All right, so where do we fit into all this? You've probably heard the spiritual advice, be a witness. But what we're about to unpack gives that phrase a whole new, much more dramatic meaning. It's not about just passively watching your thoughts.
See, a true witness isn't just someone chilling out,
watching random thoughts float by like clouds in the sky. No. A true witness is someone who has intentionally brought the tiger and the deer into the same ring and is now watching the epic, high-stakes battle between their meditation and their ego. That is the only show in town worth watching.
And this is where it gets really beautiful. Real silence, true inner quiet, it's not some empty, blank state. It's the profound silence that falls over you when you're completely absorbed in this internal drama. It's that on-the-edge-of-your-seat feeling at the climax of a great movie, holding your breath, totally focused, just waiting to see which one will win. But wait, your role is even bigger than just a spectator. You are the judge. Because you better believe, after the fight, the ego will strut around claiming it won. And your quiet, meditative side might also claim victory. Only you, the one who saw the whole thing go down, can make the final call and declare the true winner.
So, let's bring it all home. The whole idea here is this. Your meditation has a scheduled, non-negotiable appointment with your ego. The only real question left is, the next time your ego gets challenged out in the real world, are you finally going to show up for the main event?
Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something so fundamental we pretty much ignore it all day long, our breath. But what if how you breathe holds the key to changing, well, just about everything? Let's get into it.
Yep, you heard that right. Over 20,000 times every single day, your body just does this quiet, automatic miracle. But here's where it gets interesting. The source for today's explainer flips that whole idea on its head with a pretty wild question.
I know, it sounds completely backward. But stick with me here. We're going to explore this idea that a conscious, deliberate pause in your breathing could, according to our source, unlock a totally new level of energy, health, and awareness.
Okay, so before we can get to the power of that pause, we've got to start at the beginning, right? We have to understand the breath itself, which our source calls the very foundation of life.
So our source points out something really fascinating that happens as we grow up. Think about a baby breathing. It's all deep, full belly breaths. The source suggests that's a sign of being happy and carefree. But what happens to us as we get older? Our breath gets shallow, right? It gets stuck up in our chest, which really just reflects all our stress and worry. The main idea? The quality of your breath is a mirror to your state of mind.
Okay, so if deep belly breathing is what we're aiming for, how do we actually get there? Well, our source describes a very specific energy pathway in the body that we need to light up. And it's not just about getting more air in, it's about directing a current of, well, life force energy. And it all kicks off right here at a spot our source calls the nabi, which is, your navel. But think of it as way more than just a belly button. It's pitched as the body's central power plant, the place where all your vitality and good energy really comes from. So if the nabi's the power plant, well, this is the main terminal. We're talking about the Ajna chakra, which you've probably heard called the third eye, right there on your forehead between your eyebrows. And the whole point of this breathing practice is to get that energy from the nabi all the way up to this spot. So here's how that whole circuit works. Basically, you use your conscious breath to kick things off. You breathe in, that activates the nabi, that power plant, and then you just visualize that energy flowing straight up, making the connection at the ajna point. That's what unlocks that state of deep awareness. All right, let's get practical. Let's talk about the first technique, which builds on everything we've just discussed. This is like step one. It's all about firing up that nabi generator and getting it humming. Okay, so this first technique is all about the foundation. You sit or lie down, but keep your spine straight. That makes sure the path is clear. Then you close your eyes and you put all of your focus right on your navel. As you breathe in and feel your stomach rise, and breathe out and feel it fall, you're not just breathing anymore. You are consciously sending energy right to that nabi point to get things started. Okay, so once you've got that navel breathing down and it feels totally natural, you're ready for the next level. This is technique 2. The power pause. And this is the one our source says is the real game changer. The technique itself builds on what you just learned. After a full, deep inhale that fills the belly, you just hold it. You give your breath a conscious, deliberate rest for a few moments that feel comfortable before you exhale. And this quote right here, it really nails the why behind it. I mean, our breath works 24/7 our entire lives without a single break. So the philosophy is simple. What happens if we give our breath a little vacation? Could that actually create more energy?
So, what actually happens when you hit pause on your breath? This is where things get really exciting. Our source lays out 5, frankly, astonishing benefits that it says come from this simple power pause.
Okay, first up, and this is a pretty wild claim from the source. The idea is that you're born with a finite number of breaths. It's like having a bank account of breaths. Breathing all the time is like constant spending. But when you pause your breath, well, the source suggests that's like making a deposit. You're saving up your breaths and maybe, just maybe, extending your lifespan.
All right, benefit number 2, it's basically a fatigue eraser.
And the analogy for this one is perfect. You know when your phone freezes up and you have to reboot it? It claims a pause in your breath does the exact same thing for your body. It's like a hard reset for your entire system that just wipes out fatigue and gives you this instant surge of new energy. Number 3, this one goes a little deeper into the spiritual side of things. The idea here is that most of the time, our inner energy is just kind of sleeping. But pausing your breath, that acts like a light switch, waking that energy up and, it's said, speeding up your spiritual progress.
Okay, benefit number 4, this is a big one about healing.
So the theory goes like this. When you pause, the energy you've built up doesn't have to power your breathing anymore. So this concentrated life force is now free to go wherever it's needed, traveling to every single cell and helping to heal the body from the inside out.
And here we are, number 5. And for a lot of people, this might be the biggest one of all. It's about getting into a state of deep meditation. Look, the core argument here is that your breath and your mind are completely tied together. Breath is moving, mind is moving. Simple as that. So logically, the second you consciously stop your breath, your mind has no choice but to stop too. And that stillness, that's the front door to real meditation.
Yeah, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? The whole point isn't just to sit there with your eyes closed. It's to find that moment of actual, total inner silence. And this source says the fastest way there is by hitting pause on your breath.
So where does that leave us? I mean, a longer life, instant energy, deep healing, profound meditation. The source is basically saying this tiny little pause can create a, well, miraculous change.
It's a really fascinating idea, and it really leaves us with one big question, doesn't it? In that little bit of stillness between your inhale and your exhale, what could you find? What's waiting inside you, ready to be unlocked by just one conscious pause?